Hello everyone, and welcome to another YouTube video. Today I'm drawing two of my OCs, Mammon and Abaddon, enjoying what will surely be a short-lived break. And with no creative intro planned, please like and subscribe and enjoy the video. So, I'm gonna say this right now before someone points it out. I really should have swapped the sides that they were on so that they blend less into their surroundings. It's not really a problem with Abaddon, but Mammon's clothes are the exact same color as the castle, so you know, it's too late now though, so let's just pretend I didn't. So, as usual, I sketched first, but instead of cleaning up the sketch, I did line art because the sketch was way too messy and I didn't have it in me, to be honest. Also because the background was on the same layer and I should have thought that through too, but I didn't. So, just pretend I did, okay? I think everything through and forget nothing, obviously, we all know that. So I put in a few little Easter eggy bits because I felt like it and it brings me joy. I can't remember how many, more than one. But to be honest, a lot got covered by Mammon's cape and wings, so I couldn't tell you how many there is. I didn't even know before they got covered, so, you know. They're there in my heart. Right, on to the characters. I'm going to start with Mammon because Abaddon already has a video. So, Mammon, king of greed, god of greed, materialism, scavengers, luck, money, and birds, a ruthless ruler that boils those who oppose him in expensive oils, and loving father. Mammon is the only one of the 15, worldly gods, so that's all the gods that aren't the god's children or Emera or Nyx. Just to, just in case you're like, hold on a minute. Based on the last video, although there are 4 of you here, so you're probably not. So he's the only one of the 15 worldly gods to have 2 children, Taina and Moasir. Although he still hasn't been able to figure out why Mo is ginger. I mean, when you're the only parent, you would assume both your children would look like you. Also, this is the only detail I'm pointing out because it's obvious anyway, but Mo made the rainbow bracelet Mammon's wearing. And Mammon is never taking it off, even though it's been years. And who cares that it's chipped? He'll just keep wearing it until it eventually breaks into a bazillion pieces. And then he'll bring those pieces back to Mo and ask him to make it again. Mo's an adult now, by the way. Mammon is very stressed about Mo not having an actual, godly title. And that's also explained in the video with him and his sister, so go watch it. But he's keeping it a secret because Taina said it would be best if they did. Now, as for his relationship with Abaddon, the two are very close friends. It didn't start that way, though. Originally, Mammon saw a cursed fallen angelic daemon. I will name the species eventually. Not today. And was like, oh my god, rare thing, whoa. And took him to the room where he keeps all of his various other treasures. Where he stayed until Mammon realized that the tiny man was actually smart and quite funny. Then he hired him as a royal advisor and scientist. It's probably, worth mentioning that I'm drawing Mammon's human form in this. His actual form is a massive bird man. So Abaddon was the size of a kitten to him, or maybe a fly. I haven't decided exactly how big the gods' forms are, but I think making them as big as a normal person would be a fly is a little too big. You know what I mean? But, Also, on design, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of Mammon's capes being that shade of yellow. But I gave up at that point. You can see the exact point at which I give up in the speed paint because I'd been sitting there for hours. And I was kind of done. Would the speed paint have been a lot better quality if I had done it over 2 days and taken breaks? Yes, but not everyone has that time, and I didn't this week. My friend wanted me to go watch a movie for the second time, because I'd watched it with my cousins, and then he wanted to go see it, so I got dragged out, but it was fine. I didn't mind watching it twice. That was more important, sorry. Oh, and by the way, just so we're all aware, the clothes he's wearing in this are his casual clothes. If you don't want to see how extra his formal ones are, listen. He has to outdo Beelzebub at all social gatherings. It's a competition at this point. I mean, Beelzebub usually wins, but Mammon will win at some point. He's determined. Abaddon, on the other hand, is probably in the fanciest clothes he owns. Listen, when you spend all day in a lab, there's no point in fancy clothes. I mean, like, one spillage and half your clothes are gone. So, like, you know, like you've burned a hole in your nice fancy suit. Why would you wear a nice fancy suit? A cheap fake leather jacket, a t-shirt, and some jeans is fine. And it absolutely kills Mammon to have to bring him to meetings when he's dressed like that. But he's already tried updating his wardrobe and it didn't work. So, like, the most expensive thing Abaddon owns is his boots. He needs stompers, okay? Right, on to Abaddon. As I mentioned, I've already made a video on him, so I'll keep the basics short and I'll try to include bits I haven't already talked about. He turned up when Taina was in her hundreds, but before Mo appeared out of thin air. And when Mo did appear out of thin air, he gave Abaddon a 3rd-degree burn by lighting his arm on fire within the first 5 seconds of him being alive. Gotta love God, babies. Listen, Abaddon asked for it, okay? He picked him up when he was trying to eat a priceless artifact that clearly belonged in his mouth. You know, he was asking for it. Abaddon is cursed with immortality because Miss God of Light, Creation, and the Universe, Emera, hates him. Which, I mean, let a woman have hobbies, but, you know, maybe throwing him out of the clouds on top of that was a bit much. You know, it's a bit of a fair fall from there to the ground, but, you know, it also means that being killed by a god baby multiple times wasn't that big of a deal. You know, it wasn't permanent, you know. The most damage it did was to his ego. Which is why Abaddon got stuck with being Mo's babysitter, because, unlike him, everyone else that works in the palace is not immune to death. It can hurt them quite a bit, you know? So then Abaddon makes Marianne a lifelike doll to entertain Mo. Then Mo gets attached to said doll, so he goes up to Mammon and is like, hey, can I have some of your blood to bring a doll to life so I don't have to traumatize your son by telling him his best friend of 7 years isn't real? And Mammon's like, sure, why not? So, you know, technically Mammon has 3 children, I guess. Or is Marianne Abaddon's child since he made Marianne's body and brought him to life? Find out next time on Total Drama Island. I can't do that seriously, I'm sorry. I don't have it in me. Just pretend I really did it super seriously, okay? Thank you. Anyway, I'm assuming I'm far enough along to talk about the speed paint again without being completely ahead. Realistically, I should do the video first and then do the script around it. But I record the video, then I do the script, and then I, like, go off the script, and then and then I put it all together at the end. So sometimes I'll be talking about something and that thing will not be on screen, but whatever. So I rendered the whole background and then colored in Mammon and Abaddon, but I got confused and rendered on the sketch layer, which made me more confused, so I erased Abaddon's head. Oops. You know, and by the time I realized it, I couldn't undo it, so I had to give him a new head. You know, sometimes my name is Henry VIII and I have 6 lovely wives. Some would say I ruined their lives, but someone better get that joke. It was fine though, because I draw Abaddon like all the time, so it's like second nature to draw him at this point. If it had been Mammon, I might have cried though, because I really need to practice drawing body types that aren't skinny, mildly chubby, or muscular but lean. Like, muscular but not slim isn't in my skill set without having to tweak it every 5 seconds. And I still think I could have done a better job in this speed paint, but I need to practice this first and honestly live, laugh, love. Also, because drawing beards is a struggle. You know, why did I make a character with all the traits I'm bad at drawing? Why is it all in one character? That's a good question. I think of these designs in my head, and then I get attached to that design, and then, like, the only thing, like, the core aspects of the design that pop up in my head have to stay in it no matter what. So no matter what I do, he has to have some sort of a beard, and he has to have that body type. That's just, I can't change it now. And it's, yep, I wish I could, but I can't. I could make my life so much easier if I just didn't do that, but you know what? When you like a design, you like a design. You know, there are obviously, like, points I've mentioned about the design that I did today that I didn't like, and I could have, you know, drawn out some sort of character sheet beforehand, but that's effort. And if there's one thing we don't like in this house, it's effort. Anyways, then I rendered my characters, and I got lazy again, and I shortcutted my way through it. Don't look at the door behind Mammon, please. Just don't. You know what? At least I didn't blur the background this time. Like, I'm making improvements. I didn't blur the background this time. Round of applause for me, please. Thank you. Also, Mammon's doing dry January in April, okay? That's why his drink isn't there. I totally didn't forget his wine glass. As I mentioned before, I forget nothing. I have a godlike memory. Don't use my past videos for reference. I'm telling the truth. I also totally didn't almost forget Abaddon's forehead eye. And even if I did, I remembered it in the end, so it just doesn't count, okay? It doesn't count. And yes, I could solve this problem again by making reference sheets, but who needs physical reference sheets when the best reference sheets are the ones up here? You can't see it, but I'm pointing to my brain. Oh, and I made Abaddon's ears the right size. I know, I'm amazing. I'm doing so much. I hit the mic again. I really hope that doesn't show up. Anyway, I'm doing so much. I'm going above and beyond. I actually made his ears the right size. Usually I make them too big because his are supposed to be smaller and less pointy because he used to be an angelic daemon, and angelic daemons, they will get a name eventually. Do not at me. I will come up with a name for both species eventually. I just don't have one in my head right now. But yeah, the angelic ones have like regular ears. But obviously he's not one anymore. He got kicked out the Cool Kids Club, so... Anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And if you didn't, ouch. But I'm impressed you made it this far. So, you know, it's less ouch and I'm just more impressed. Like, good job. Bye-bye. Irish word of the week is laba, by the way, which means bed, which is where I want to be right now.